Jesus, don't cry. You can rely on me, honey. You can combine anything you want.
Well, welcome everyone to another episode of the AxPx podcast, show number 11, which is crazy that I've done 11 of these. Joey is off this week, basically because I have an impromptu interview that came up, and I wanted to speak to my friend Erica that I haven't talked to in a long time, and the opportunity arose, so here we are. This week is Erica Hanna.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Erica Hanna.
You had a different last name for a while.
I know. I've confused Sean because I've since been married and divorced, so that's cool. It's all right.
Well, Erica, thanks.
Yes, I am here.
Yeah, thank you so much for agreeing. I mean, I've been wanting to talk to you since I started the show because your story is I think a pretty incredible one, with the things you've been through and how you've come across, you've overcome a lot of seeming like adversity in your, young life since college. So I figured, Erica would be a good person to talk to. And today we're mainly going to be talking about meditation and puking rainbows.
Puking rainbows. Yes, absolutely.
Because when I follow Erica on Twitter and Facebook, she's always talking about puking rainbows, and I was like, man, I really need to talk to her about this.
And we're not talking about Skittles or drunk Skittle nights. Yeah, no, it's different. So
yeah. Well, Skittles is shitting rainbows.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would
I don't
make
know.
sense.
Unicorns shit Skittles, right? I don't know.
Absolutely.
I could be confused.
Sure, I know.
And I've derailed the podcast.
No, that's
All
okay.
Right.
People tend to get distracted with the puking rainbows no matter what, because it just conjures up that image of, what?
Yeah, the image is pretty powerful.
It is.
Erica, I mean, this is an impromptu interview here. I don't really have a whole lot of questions, but I do want to kind of turn over to you and then I'm sure questions will pop up as we talk.
Sure.
I want to kind of talk about your story because you and I, if for the listeners, you and I went to college together at Waldorf College in Forest City, Iowa.
Yes.
Both communications majors. You're actually making money with your communications major. I'm doing something for free. I guess I'm doing software support, so I guess that kind of helped. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
My degree helped. I'm not gonna knock myself down. I'm just, stay positive here. I do have a great job, by the way, if my employers are listening. So we both communications majors. We kind of bounced around a lot of those classes and like radio and television. And you work for WCCO out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and you're director of the newscaster. What's your role there?
Well, I actually have pretty much the best job title in the universe. My job title is Creative Predator.
Yes.
So Predator stands for producer, writer, shooter, director, editor. Okay. So it basically means that I'm kind of a creative control freak, I think is kind of the best way to put it. I don't know. So I get to do anything that involves promoting the station. And I have the skill set to do as you would as well, since we did the same classes, but to do anything from the writing to the editing to some graphic support and directing shoots and that kind of stuff. So it's pretty fun. There's been a lot of really great opportunities, and just recently won an Emmy for working with Ellen DeGeneres, and that was freaking mind-blowingly awesome. So I guess I couldn't ask for more. It's really, CBS, if you're listening, thank you.
Yeah, that's great. I saw that you had met with Ellen DeGeneres, and was that something for her show that you were helping her with, or?
Yeah, basically the time slot had changed on WCCO, and she was going to be replacing Oprah, which, was a huge ad revenue stream for us. Yeah. And it was really important that we launched her big and got her kind of big numbers off the bat so that our advertisers weren't like, oh my gosh, now what do we do without Oprah?
Right.
So, she came to town and we did some filming. She was super cool. And, it was really, really a great project to be involved with. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
So as I've been following you on Facebook, I've seen many things that you've been posting, including puking rainbows, which I'm sure we'll talk about, and then in meditation. So you haven't really posted a whole heck of a lot about meditation, but it's been enough to be like, wow, this is something that's very important to Erica, and I want to talk about it. And I'm trying to figure out where should we start, because you also last year you were raising money for wells for
for charity water. Yep.
For charity water. And during that, you actually because for that, did you go on were you trying to lose weight? I mean, I'm dancing around the subject. I'm just like,
Yeah, no, I know it's kind of hard to ask somebody that. No, I get it. So throughout last year, and I had done some stuff with charity water in the past, and I guess we talk about social media and the power of social media, and I know that you and I kind of off air have talked about how you really have a voice now, and that's pretty cool that you have an avenue to talk about this through social and spreading awareness, and that's kind of where the charity water stuff started for me, because I had just started on Twitter, and it was I think it was my 29th birthday is when it all started. And I just thought, I don't want another freaking candle for my birthday. Like, I can't deal. Like, it's enough, and I just felt like, what can I do anything? Like, can I make a difference? And I had never done charity work before. I'm not one of those people really. And I stumbled across this organization called Charity Water, and it was kind of, I don't know, the founder's story had like a similar background. Scott Harrison, well, not that similar because I don't know, I'm not famous, so that's probably why. But he was a famous promoter in New York City, and he went on this trip with a friend and saw the poverty and everything over there, and it just totally changed his mind. And after seeing the pictures, and I just thought, okay, can we leverage social media to do some fundraising? And it is a couple of years ago, so it was kind of before the big Kickstarter boom that is happening right now, where it's like everywhere, which is fine. More power to them, but but it is everywhere. Let's be honest. Yeah. And
the bubble's popped.
It is. It is blown up. And so I started raising awareness for charity water, and started this 3-month campaign for my birthday of trying to raise enough money for a well, and it just kind of picked up speed, and it was just this amazing thing to be a part of. So, as in anything I do, I'm slightly OCD, and it was a couple of years later, and I thought, I'm kind of in a funk, and I want to do it again, but I don't know if people will just donate for fun again. What can I do, and what do I need to do? And I was like, well, I need to lose 100 pounds. Let's be honest. That's kind of a big deal. And so it was getting close to that 100-pound mark, and about 3 months away from it, I kind of figured varying on the rate of weight loss. And I thought, okay, what better way to raise awareness than to just say, okay, so for every pound I lose now, could you donate $1 or $10 or whatever? And that way was kind of on me. If people committed, it was up to me. I had to do it. I wasn't just like, give me your money, and so that was just a really fun way to use social media to kind of spread the awareness of getting healthy, and also shit, this is happening in the world, and it's crazy. Yeah. And 5,000 kids are dying each day because they don't have water. Water, that's it. Yeah. What? Yeah. Just seems kind of ridiculous. So yeah. So that was great. Kind of that was the social media campaign with the losing weight thing, and it was a lot of fun.
And you lost 100 pounds, is that right?
Yes, I did. Wow. I did. Honestly, I'll be honest, I've kind of creeped up a little bit again. But hey, we got the wells, so I got your money. Thanks a lot. No, it's it's a struggle, and I didn't have to lose 100 pounds, but I've been in the up and down of trying to, you get past a certain age, and it's just like you can't seem to. Yeah. I'm just very stubborn. I don't want to have to buy new jeans. I don't want to have to go up a size. So unfortunately, I don't know. It happens. I won't buy new clothes.
Yeah, that too. I'm cheap. So that's really awesome that you did that. And that's a really great way to raise money for a charity. And I think that's the thing. A lot of people they almost rely on their churches or nonprofits to raise money. But what people don't understand or realize is that all of us can make a difference personally. We can find a charity to give to ourselves. We don't have to give to an organization for that organization to give to a charity. And it's a very, I think, exciting time that we live in, because 10 years ago, you wouldn't have thought that you can raise money through the internet for a charity, and it's just really, really cool that everyone can make a difference today. And it's still very in its infancy of happening, but I think it's a great thing. And you kind of showed you were an example of that, showed that anybody can make a difference. So that's really
I went
awesome.
to a TED Talk last night, which was amazing, and it was a TED Talk about women, and there was this statistic that just blew me away. That and not to say that guys aren't generous or anything, but I'm like, sorry, feminist, yeah. But the statistic was that 98% of women feel that it is their responsibility to make a difference in the world, and like that's just kind of a crazy number. I mean, not that the other 2% are assholes, but like it's like, and that they're proactively doing something to raise money for charity, and it's like I think that social has made it so much more visible. Like it's not something that you just stick in the church Dropbox anymore, or you mail in a check. Like you can say, dudes, this is fucking important, and like, can you help me? And if you don't feel passionately about this one, can you do something for someone else? Like, because we have so much. Like, it's pretty ridiculous how much we have here in America, really. Compared to most people in the world don't have toilets or anything, and it's like, wow.
And you're almost more aware of it around Thanksgiving time. It seems to be more and more aware.
I mean, Black Friday, holy shit. Like, people are crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I'm going to give thanks and then go trample people for a big screen TV.
Oh my gosh. Don't get me started on Black Friday. I don't know. Maybe next year I'll do some sort of show just about Black Friday and the ridiculousness of it, because we don't go out at all. Like, we just stay home. We don't really go anywhere.
Absolutely.
So going through this weight loss and everything, now, okay, so when did you discover meditation? Like, did that help you through the weight loss? Was this something that you discovered beforehand? What's your kind of journey into discovering about meditation and the journey into it actually being a very, very much a big part of your life?
Sure. Well, the catalyst for the weight gain, to be honest, and to kind of like put my raw self out there, was a bad anxiety disorder. And I would stress eat, and in a way, and I know a lot of people actually do this, and it sounds really asinine, but I would stress eat in order to breathe, because I would feel like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe, and I'm going to have a panic attack. But when you eat, you are forced to breathe a certain way, and that's just how it is. So basically, I had pretty much forgotten how to breathe, and which is kind of bizarre. But in talking with some of my other friends that also meditate, it's like you don't realize the power of your breath until you're consciously doing it, and it's like you don't realize that you're sitting at your desk and you're like, shit, oh my gosh, okay, I'm not going to make this deadline. Especially, in news, there's a lot of deadline driven stress.
News and TV is a very much of high stress environment.
Sure. And it's like, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, okay, I gotta go. And you forget the value of just stopping and taking a deep breath and just being like, okay, like I can do it. I'm not going to freak out, and reset and go. So through the anxiety problems, I guess, I found this book, and let's see. This is very super hippie and new agey, but the Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And it's called A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment. And he's, kind of endorsed by Deepak Chopra and all that stuff. And he does kind of this non-denominational guide to spiritual enlightenment kind of, and his big message is like, now is where you should be. Like, just chill the F out and concentrate on what's happening right now in your body, because no matter what, you can't control what's going to happen in 30 seconds. Right. And that message just really, really resonated with me. And he was talking about, meditation a little bit from a non-religious standpoint, as, breathing is the end of suffering. Just concentrating on your breath is the end of suffering, because you are completely present. You're just going in and out, and now I'm here, and I'm not worrying about shit, So yeah, so that's kind of how I got hooked up with it, and I'm not gonna lie, like it wasn't this big cakewalk. It wasn't like all of a sudden I sat down to meditate and I was like, oh, this is
Yeah,
great.
right.
Like I was pissed off, I was frustrated, I was like, I can't get my mind to shut up, and meditation's stupid. I throw the book across the room.
Right,
You know,
right.
it's like I ended up more frustrated than when I began. So and just kind of revisited a couple different times and. You know, one thing I would say to beginners, and something that I wish that someone would have told me, is that that's normal.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just sit and like become silent. Like, it's just not, we're not trained that way in our modern society.
Yeah.
Like, you will have what people call monkey mind, where all of a sudden you're like in, out, should I have to do the dishes? And then I got to go pick up the kids, and now I'm going to go, and then you get like, oh, shut up, brain. I'm supposed to be meditating. Shut up. And then you're more frustrated than when you started because you don't realize that that's normal.
Yeah.
So, and it's completely normal. So, yeah.
Cool.
It's kind of how I got started. And yeah, it inadvertently helped with the weight loss, definitely, because, you know, it's decompressing that anxiety disorder, and it was finding a different way to breathe.
Right, it's kind of refocusing it somewhere else. But we're talking to Erica Hanna about meditation. So, and I still want to get to puking rainbows. So we'll
Sure.
save that for last. I think
Okay.
is the
The
best
grand
place to go for that.
finale.
The grand finale.
Puke finale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Erica's say like, because I've actually messed around with meditation in the past. I had a yoga app on my iPhone, and there's things for meditation, and so I kind of see where you come from with, because my mind is constantly going, and and all the app did was it's like maybe 5 to 7 minutes of peaceful music, and that's pretty much it. And they tell you to focus on your breathing, but my brain, because I'm trying to do this before I get ready for work, so my brain's constantly going, and I see where you're coming from on that, and it's really hard to focus. So say someone like me is trying to jump in to meditation, and they do get frustrated now that you've been through the most of the frustration. How would you say the best way for someone like me to approach meditation would be?
I think it kind of depends on, I think different learning styles and different techniques work better for different people. When I first started, guided meditations were a lot better for me, because if it was just music, I did the same thing you did. And I'd be like, oh, where the hell? I need to be somewhere. This is a waste of time. Like I need to be doing something. And the guided meditations seemed to it gave me something to focus on a little bit, like you are here and this is what you're doing, and this is, taking you away to a different place, basically. Another way that, I've been going to this meditation class here in town, and they suggested for beginners to just simply count, because counting doesn't have like, I guess, a judgment associated with the word. Like it's just a number, so like if you just count your breaths and come in 1 and then breathe out, come in 2, breathe out. And I did that the other day, and the first time I did it, I think I got to 5, and then they're like, whenever your mind starts to wander, just start over. And gradually it's been easier and easier. And the other night I got to like 100, which was crazy, because I was like, oh, I'm so bored, like I'm never gonna make it, and you end up getting in this really good groove, and you're like just thinking about breathing and then the number. I think that people do walking meditation too. Meditation is basically a lot of people think to meditate, you need to sit down on a cushion and be in a certain position, and that's the only way it works. Meditation can be different for anyone. And obviously with certain religions, it's very specific the way that they want you to do it. But if we're just talking about meditation as a state of mind, I know my mom, for example, she's not good with the sitting meditation, but if she goes for a run, she can do the breathing meditation really well. Like she's like in, step, out, step, in, step, out, step. Yeah. So it can be, you can be active when you're meditating too.
Right. So it's more of a fact of just getting your mind off the crazy day to day and stepping just aside and just just clearing your mind, right? Just of everything. And I find, when I run, after getting in a groove of running, because they're usually the first week of me running, it's me hobbling in pain. But I find like when I've been getting into it, I do enjoy it, because I have about a 3-mile trek, and it's if you put on, and actually it's funny because my wife was making fun of me because I listen to really peaceful music when I run, but she needs like the techno, like something to keep her going. So we're both very different. And because we were trying to run together, and I put on like Dennis and Whitmer, or something like that.
There you go.
She's like,
and she's
what? This is putting me to sleep, So, so for me, it's a different different mindset, and everyone's different. And I think there's a lot of maybe misconceptions with meditation, especially me, since I was raised in a very evangelical Christian family. And I know that when my parents would hear, anything about meditation, it's like, well, that's just Eastern religion,
Yeah.
you're going to become a Buddhist, or, that's not what we do. We meditate on the scriptures, which, hey, if that's good for you, if that helps you get away from the day-to-day craziness and you're able to focus on something and it does enrich you, that's great,
Absolutely.
For me, that wasn't the case, because I would just get confused and frustrated.
Right. I totally understand.
So,
Deepak Chopra says, it's not about forcing your mind to be quiet. It's about finding the silence that's already there and making it part of your life, because silence is the birthplace of creativity and happiness. So that's what he says anyway. Kind of wise, I guess.
Yeah. And I think, we just did a Mormon podcast, and there was, there is a lot with every kind of, it seems like with everything, there's always general misconceptions that people have with any thought, belief, any worldview, even like something simple as meditation, which is kind of sort of just a tool to refocus yourself, but people kind of warily will talk about it, or be very wary of it. Have you run into, when you bring it up, do people kind of have the wrong impression? Like, what's the kind of, what do you find yourself kind of in not defending it? Do you find yourself kind of having to apologize for it, or kind of re-educating people? What are the kind of the common misconceptions you find yourself faced with?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think people automatically assumed if I'm meditating that I am a Buddhist,
right?
Which is, or that I'm into Taoism, or some similar facet. And it's just a matter of explaining, like, no, meditation's just like finding silence to find happiness. Like, that's all it is. Like, and hey, if you're Christian, that's totally cool, and you can do it. And actually, probably when you're praying or right after you're praying, that's a perfect time to do it. Like, because you're really in touch with yourself, or well, I mean, some people, people who are Christian are, or that's what they say, or whatever, and it's a good time because you're kind of in touch with yourself. You're being pretty, calm, and that'd probably be a good spot for them to kind of do some deep breathing and refocus, and actually, and then I remind them, meditation actually it came from the Latin words that mean to think and to heal. So it's basically just giving your brain time, because we do that with our bodies all the time. It's like, I need to sit down and I need to rest, and we just really don't allow ourselves to do that with our mind. Your mind needs just as much rest. It's intelligent rest, because it's still thinking. And sometimes out of meditation, you get to a place and you come out of it and you're like, that's the idea I was looking for. Now things are clear, because things clear out of the way, and that creativity can come forward, and the stuff that's blocking it is gone now. So yeah.
So once you kind of get through these misconceptions and everything, like, do people come up to you and say, well, how do I even start? Like, where do I even, do I learn how to cross my legs? Do I,
absolutely.
What do I do? Like, what would you recommend if if someone's just trying to just discover their method? And so what would you say to someone who where would you tell them to start, as far as, like, I don't know, how to sit down, stand up? What advice would you give? Sorry, I'm stumbling all over the place.
That's okay. Typically, it's just, you just need to be comfortable. That's the most important thing. I find that if the room is cold, it's distracting. So dress warmly, because otherwise you start shivering if you're not moving around. Well, probably not if you're out where it's warm like you, but we're in the tundra of Minnesota.
Hey, it gets down to 60 degrees.
And some people will actually lay down while they meditate. I find that if I do that, I just fall asleep. Like I just can't separate the two really.
Right.
So I usually sit. I'm still like my legs are a little chunky, so the crossing thing's a little weird, so I try, but I'm not like in full lotus or anything like that, because then I'm like, oh gosh, I can't move. Another way that people sit is they'll actually, I'm trying to think of how to describe this so it makes sense. They'll kind of sit on their knees with a pillow under their butt, so that like there's not pressure really, but that their knees are still in contact with the ground. It's kind of this grounding, feeling. And then with different religions or different whatever, different hand positions, which that's up to you to investigate how you really want to do it. But yeah, I typically just feel comfortable. And some people ask, okay, should I do eyes open, eyes closed? Like, what's the deal with that? Totally up to you. A lot of people like the eyes closed because then they're not looking around at outward distractions. That's cool. I actually most of the time will do this thing where my eyes are kind of half open so that I can like defocus. Like you kind of like do that. You like relax your eyes. So like defocuses. And then I also have this app on my phone where it's just like a candle that's like burning. So like if I want to, I'll like set that like on a chair or something in front of me and just be like, okay.
So they don't kind of focus on that's more of a peaceful image kind of.
Yeah. And it just gives me like something to look at. Because I find that if I just kind of go into it, this personally, me, if I just go into it, I'm like, ADD, yeah. And so there's definitely different ways to do that as far as like tools.
Okay. Do you have any tools that you use or anything like that, or what's?
Recently I discovered something called a singing bowl, which I am completely in love with. And I think it's just like, it brought me to like this whole new level of, this makes it so much easier to get into it quickly, because my problem is I'd be like, struggle. I'm finally into it. And now it's done. Like my little guided meditation's over. So, a singing bowl it's actually, it's a different kind of bell that's not hanging upside down. It looks more like a bowl. And, comes with a little mallet, and you hit it, and it makes this kind of bell sound, and then you keep running it around the rim of the bowl to kind of just make this tone. And then it gives you a sound to concentrate on, because I'm very into the audio thing. So just giving me this one sound, and it's like, and it was cool. Like I went to this, it's a Tibetan singing bowl, and I went to this, Tibetan gift store to kind of figure it out. And the guy he was super cool, like helping me pick it out. Cause I'm like, well, how do I know like which one? And he's like, you'll know, it's like the all knowing, like, you will know, it will speak to you. And I was like, okay, right, you're full of shit. Like I was like, whatever, you're going to get me to buy the most expensive one. And that wasn't the case at all. Like, he played them and they have different tones, high and low and medium. And for some reason it was kind of weird. Like he played this one, and I was like, I get that tone, and that tone's not annoying, because he had literally gone through like 11 bowls, and I was like, annoying, too high, too low. Oh my gosh, hate that, and so yeah, it helps me get into it right away. And it's just kind of like this, I don't even know if you'll be able to hear it. You might have to edit this out, but
we hear it.
Okay. And then you keep running the mallet around. And it's actually, for me, a little bit of the motion is meditative too, because it's I have to do this to keep it going.
So it's kind of a circular motion. You're moving the mallet around the outside of the bowl. You try hit it one more time and I'll shut up so people can hear it.
Okay.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah, and the cool part about it, and I feel like I can actually feel it too when it's going. I can feel the vibrations obviously resonating in my hand.
Right.
So it really concentrates me on that one thing, and it's like, okay, cool, I'm in.
It's not just a tone. It's also organic, because you actually can feel the vibrations of the bowl. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, cool. It helps me because I'm so ADD. So yeah.
Very cool. Well, let's let. I know you put the call out on Twitter, and we did get a question. This is from Pafford, at Pafford. It's funny. I'm going to do an aside here, because it's funny, like when I'm watching the news, and like news stations are starting to read people's tweets now. It's like the most surreal thing. and and
Twitter handle.
Twitter handle Angel Butthole says.
I know, I was just
like,
gonna say
you
that.
guys gonna,
Right?
do they? I don't know. Just Twitter is just anything goes, So I'm like, one of these days, someone's gonna read the wrong thing on accident.
See more butts. or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I'm looking at that. Pafford changed his or her, I don't know, name, because you have your name on Twitter. I'm looking at it, to Warren Christmas, as in war on Christmas.
Yep.
Kind of funny. Anyway, okay, sorry. See, I get derailed easily. I've been doing pretty good this time though. We're good. So Pafford asks, when you meditate, do you follow a set of pattern of thought or chants to lead yourself through it? What do you recommend? And we've kind of we've already kind of touched on this a little bit. But I guess let's I guess, even if we're repeating the same thing, like what is it that you lead yourself through? Like, what does your app do, or
I have an app called, I think it's just called Happiness, actually.
Okay.
And I like that one because it's super non-denominational, and she actually reminds you in that app, I think it's that one. Oh, I don't know. Like, stop judging. Like, because even if it I found myself when they're like, breathe deep, I'd be like, I can't even breathe deep. I'm just pissed off today, And then they'd be like, don't judge your breath, just let it flow, which is like, oh, that's a good reminder. But I have different ones. One of my friends taught me to do, when I do a deep breath in, I think breathe in good, breathe out bad. And it helps me kind of like this mental image of cleansing my body of the bad energy that's in it. Also, like we talked about before, counting can be good. Just go in 1, out 1, in 2, out 2. If you do, I do this thing actually, and as weird as it sounds, you can meditate in your car just by being completely present with whatever you're doing. And so I've gotten in this habit. I have like a 10-minute drive to work, and it may sound absolutely fucking crazy, but sometimes I'll just turn off the radio and I just process whatever is actually happening and kind of say it out loud. So I'll be, oh man, now I sound like a lunatic. But
you're the crazy person talking to themselves in their car.
Yeah, really, really. Right? And it's like, I'll literally think like gas, brake, blink, 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 blink. It's like you just process what you just completely right there, and so I'm not like yelling at someone or whatever, but I'm okay. This is exactly what I'm doing. Be intentional with my actions, and so that's been cool. Another thing that I recently did was Deepak Chopra on his website, and I think you can still download them, but he did a 21-day meditation challenge on deepakchopra.com, and I thought that was cool because basically he would talk about awareness and just being kind and awareness. Like, it's non-denominational type of thing. And he talks about it for like 5 or 6 minutes. And then he does like so at that point you're calm, because he has a very calming voice. And then he starts a meditation that lasted only like 5 minutes. So that was perfect for beginners. I had a lot of my friends did that. So yeah.
That's great. And I'm going to put the name of the book in the show notes, but what's the name of the book one more time?
The book
Power
that I was
of Now, yeah,
The Power of Now, and that's not necessarily a meditation book. Like I said, it's more about like a new age spiritual enlightenment, being in the present moment,
right?
Which obviously is meditation as well. Yeah,
but it did help you kind of, get into this. So it's called The Power of Now, and who's the author? Eckhart Tolle. Okay, great.
And then Deepak Chopra is the one that has a lot of the meditations that are guided.
Chopra, I've heard the name before quite a bit. So is he?
He's great. Like, I actually had the best meditative experience I've ever had in my life, and I haven't honestly reached that level again. When I saw him speak in person here at a temple in town, and he's actually it's really interesting. He's a neuroscientist, so he's a brain scientist, and he, back even in the 70s, was studying like, the effect of like intentional meditation on the brain, what it does physically to people's brains. And it's just really cool. It's kind of clinical, and he has all these stats about how it's going to change your brain, and it's pretty fun. So
cool. Does he have a website or?
Yep. Okay. I think it's just deepakchopra.com. And he's super active on Twitter. Cool. And he's actually pretty funny because he'll get like the haters, and then he'll like retweet them, and he'll be like, and I'm done with you. Like, just kind of like all zen-like,
Yeah. Great. Well, I'll put a link on the show notes as well to his Twitter feed and his website. Well, Erica, first, I just want to thank you for talking about the meditation and everything like that. It's been kind of a long time coming with me talking to you about this, and so what it sounds like is it's just a way, in layman's terms, simplify, just take a break from the craziness of life. I mean, I got 3 kids, working a job, I work software support, so life is busy. I have an hour commute both ways, so I'm in the car 2 hours. You need to step away and just just clear your mind. And it sounds like a tool that I want to try even more. I smoke a pipe, so that always helps when I sit out in the back on the patio.
That's cool.
Helps a little bit. But as far as breathing and everything like that, you don't really want to breathe too deeply when you're smoking a tobacco pipe, because you're trying not to get the tobacco in your lungs. So I don't know. Maybe it's not really having the effect I want it to.
That's awesome. It's interesting. It's like, doctors more and more are citing, all these preventative diseases are due to stress. And so now some doctors that are a little bit more progressive, obviously, are prescribing, meditation or yoga, as a way to get into meditation, because yoga is definitely meditative, and as a way to release tension, to release that buildup and lower the blood pressure, that type of thing. So it's pretty cool for health,
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So I would definitely recommend listeners to check it out. It sounds very very helpful, even to me, because I know there's times I need to step away and take some time to just clear everything out. So great. So now let's talk puking rainbows. Now this is this is something that I would see you put out on Twitter and stuff like that. What and I've Googled it. Even we're in the Google age, Google everything.
Yay.
When did that begin with you, and how, just let me know about it.
Sure. So it started kind of this weird way on Twitter. I tweet a lot of inspirational quotes, and a lot of them are from Eckhart Tolle, and he's a little bit super philosopher, a little bit convoluted. So some people aren't really huh? It's just more what the fuck is that guy talking about? And I actually had a follower of mine who was just really this great kid from New York City, teenager, and he's like, I love your positive quotes, but I just want to be honest. What did that last one mean? Sometimes I don't get it, and he goes, I don't want to sound stupid, but can you interpret what the last few quotes from that guy have meant? And I just said, well, to put it in layman's terms, I guess what he's talking about is when life gives you rain, you should just puke an effing rainbow, man. Just take it, turn it around, and it's the same thing as the lemons in the lemonade, right? Or vodka lemonade or whatever you want to make. So, and so then it kind of turned into him being the next day he'd be like, guess what? I puked rainbows today. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And then he started kind of using hashtag whenever he felt like he was turning his life around and puke rainbows. And so then I would do it or retweet something that he's done, this puking rainbows. And then I started asking people, how are you puking rainbows today? And, it's a visual thing. It sticks with people. Okay, and it's kind of gross, whatever. But it's just kind of and I'm positive yet sarcastic. So I think that it's kind of a good way for me to communicate what I'm kind of about, I hate the word personal brand. I think it's stupid, but it's just what I like, this is what I'm like. Even if you haven't met me, puke rainbows is kind of how I am, and so it's it's morphed. And whenever I go to speak somewhere or to go to a social media function, it's either, oh, you're the water well girl, or you're that puke rainbows chick, and I'm like, yeah, and that's fine with me. That's cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, I need to puke rainbows more often.
The more you practice, the brighter they get,
Yes. Well, that's really great. You do some interesting things on Twitter. We're running out of time here, but you do a lot of things where you have people ask questions. What do you call that? Twitter meetup or what?
I do a tweet and meet is
Okay.
the hashtag for it. And basically, my schedule's so weird, so I don't really have a set time for
Yeah.
the chat. But, an hour or two before it starts, I'll say, I think the problem with Twitter is that people get on it and they're like, who am I supposed to follow? I don't know. Or how do I meet people that like the same shit that I do?
Yeah.
Like, because their search function is horrible. Sorry,
Yeah.
Twitter. Like, and, I've just found that it's kind of a good way to bring people together and so that you can see the patterns and usually let's be honest, like people love to talk about themselves,
Yeah.
you want to share information, and especially in this digital age, like that's what it is. It's like the overshare thing. Like tell me about yourself, and so I'll usually just ask general questions to people about themselves. Like, what is your favorite childhood toy that you had? And then it's interesting to see people like even bond over that, or like what was the biggest challenge you had at work today, and then people go, oh, you do that, I do that too, we should hook up. And it's been really fun to see people go like, I met some of my best friends through tweeting me because like we like the same shit and it was easy,
Awesome.
like yeah, so it's fun.
Very cool. I have two Twitters for those of you who just listen to this show. One's called Geek Couch, and that's my like the geek part of my brain, and then this one, the AxPx, of course, to this show, and then more the philosophy and religion, because I started putting religion and stuff like that in my geek couch, and people like I lost followers, and they were just like, oh, we don't want this in our feed, So I started up the AxPx. And in the geeks, the movie buffs that I follow, they do a lot of live tweeting of movies, and a lot of times people connect through that, and it's the same type of thing. It's really awesome how social media is bringing people together, and it's very, very exciting. So on Twitter, where can people find you? On Twitter?
I'm at Meet Erica, so like meet me, MEET, and then Erica is ERICA.
Great.
And, I've heard a couple of people say that Twitter is where you go to meet new friends and Facebook is where you go to avoid the people you don't want to see from high school. So, like, I love Twitter.
That's funny. Luckily, my high school was small, and, I don't mind having 60 people I graduated with on there.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah, definitely. Same thing. Like, I feel the same way, but it's interesting how there are certain people that are like, oh, I hate those people. And you're like, no, whatever. Who cares?
They probably hide me from their feed. Sean's always posting stuff. I don't care. That's fine with me.
Liberal, crazy people, whatever. Yeah.
Well, Erica, thank you so much Thank you so much for spending time with me, and talking about, yourself, being open, honest about yourself, and meditation, and puking rainbows, and we don't talk a lot. Like Erica and I go way back to college, but even then we were I was working 2 jobs and everything, and I didn't really get to interact with a lot of people. Yeah, I feel like that I went to school with in college, especially Waldorf and the communications, but we all ended up like working on projects together, so we bonded that way. So, it's just great.
Sean was like one of the cool kids, and I was one of the dorky kids.
Whatever.
So it's
like, don't even start. I think I don't know if around that time where I was, those gigantic jeans. You remember those? I don't know if I wore those to school, but oh my God, I can't even. I was definitely not cool.
Oh, whatever.
Oh man. Now I'm just like 35 and I don't give a shit.
Right?
I don't care. Fashion? Who cares? I got jeans and a t-shirt. I don't care.
Exactly.
So I don't have time.
Yay.
I'm a father of 3. I don't have time to worry about what I'm wearing. Someday, I'm like, when they're growing up, my kids they'll become my fashion consultants.
Well,
right?
your wife is beautiful, so it's like you're like, well, see, look at my wife, like she's with me, so like you don't even have to worry about it on it. Like,
she's my shoulder candy or arm candy. Is that what it is? Yeah. People just focus on her and don't, just that goofy guy's with that amazingly beautiful woman. That's weird. Oh well, lucky him. Erica, thanks again for sharing. Really appreciate talking to you, and hope if. Definitely follow Erica on Twitter. It's a lot of fun to see, what you're up to, and the tweets you send out are really entertaining and thought provoking and stuff like that. So, Well, you've been listening to the AxPx podcast. I thank all of you for tuning in. It is brought to you by Charming Beard Coffee. So go to charmingbeard.com and type in, when you order your bag of coffee, type in AxPx in the coupon code area, and you get 10% off. So it's a small batch, single origin coffee. They have an Uganda roast. It's called Kaboom Co-op. And then they have a Nicaragua El Recreo Estate. And I've tried them both, and I buy my coffee from them. Give me anything for promoting them. I just, want to promote the coffee. It's my brother.
I love it.
But the coffee's awesome. So if he was sending out crappy coffee, I wouldn't even be talking about it.
Okay.
Anyway, geez, they're going to email me and say, Sean, was that supposed to be like an ad? I don't understand. I don't know. Go to charmingbeard.com and grab yourself some coffee there. Good stuff. Otherwise, you guys have a great week. I'll talk to all of you next time. We're going to be talking conspiracy theories. And hopefully we're around, because I think the 21st of December is coming up. I'm not looking at my calendar, so hopefully we're even around by then. But
Right.
go to the AxPx.com, find the shows there, and subscribe in iTunes. Just search for AxPx and you'll find the show. Subscribe through there so they see that people like the show. I don't know. I still I don't understand the iTunes ranking yet. Anyway, all of you guys have a great week. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.